Hi, thanks for watching. On this video, we're going to be answering this particular question. What's the one thing merchants can do to better personalize their emails? So it's probably a very common question. You're probably sitting there right now trying to figure out, how can I create more meaningful communications with my customers, right? That's the one thing that we're all aiming to do. And so I think the first thing, and probably the simplest thing, is when you actually capture email addresses rather than just capturing an email, some of the things you might be interested in capturing is a gender or their first name or their birth date. And you can use that information later on down the line. And all that information is easy to pass into MailChimp or Constant Contact or whatever emailing platform that you're using. But I think the very first thing, first and foremost, is rather than just capturing an email, you also want to capture possibly one or two other really important fields. I think a birthday is really important because sending a birthday campaign can be really successful and very profitable, especially if you're going to be offering them an incentive around their birthday. And then you want to play around with it as well. So if you're using a pop-up tool like Just Uno or Opt-in Monster or any of these tools where you can add or subtract fields relatively easily, you might want to A/B test having a version with an additional field and without one. And depending on what kind of business you are, if it's really important to know if they're a male or female, you're going to want to separate that out as well and decide which field is more important to include. Because if you have too many fields, you're going to lose them and they're not going to fill out any information. Because the golden rule, never forget this, the golden rule of lead generation is that the more information you ask for, the less people are going to fill it out. So the less fields, the better, but usually one or two is okay. So that's probably the first way to start creating more personalized messaging. And so if you can capture their first name, it's nice when you say, "Hi Bob, how you doing, blah, 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 blah," or "Hi Bob, here are the latest top 10 sellers." So that's also okay. But from our experience, it hasn't really been a big game changer in really moving the needle. One of the other things that you probably want to look at, and I think really is more important and more successful, is when you start to segment out your buyers based on what they bought from your website, either based on category or specific product items. So in tools like MailChimp or any of these common out-of-the-box solutions today that most of you are probably using that are watching this, you can actually create segments within a list. And if you're on Shopify, if you're on one of these platforms, Shopify or BigCommerce or WooCommerce, that actually integrate really nicely into MailChimp or any of those platforms, it's very easy for those platforms to integrate your purchase data, also historical purchase data. And then what you can start doing is creating segments. So you go into your list and you say, I want to create a segment of my list of all people who have bought from a particular category or bought a particular product, add them to this new segment list. So if it's people that have bought, wristbands, add them to the wristband list, because what you want to do is start marketing to them. And so the next time you're sending your newsletter, you send them a specific newsletter. I think wristbands is probably not such a good idea. Example. But let's take electronics. Someone who bought from the electronics category, but you've also got a computers category. Now, what you want to be able to start doing is sending personalized newsletters to that particular group of buyers, because they're more likely to buy from that category again than from another category on your website. Now, obviously, that depends on the range of products that you sell, but usually, if someone buys, if a woman buys, bras from you, and they've bought 2 bras from you before, but they haven't bought any, jackets or coats, you want to add them to the bra list. The next time you've got a special on bras, or if it's from a specific brand of bras that you want to add a specific segment to, and then the next time you have a promotion for that particular brand or for that specific category, you can actually then market specifically to those people who have historically not just shown interest, but actually bought. And so that's a very, very powerful way of personalizing your emails and the content in your emails to a specific group of buyers. And usually the conversion rate on those emails are going to be like 5 times higher than the regular emails that you send out to your list, where you send a batch and blast email, because the contextual relevance to their historical connection to your brand is like very, very aligned, right? So that is another way of personalizing emails without, saying, "Hi, Bob," or "Today's your birthday," but actually personalizing the content itself. So that's number two. To take that a step further, the next level of personalization is on the browsing side before an order's made. And that's where tools like Smart Mail comes in that we can help you with. If you're interested in finding out more about that, you should find some link or get in touch with us. But basically, what targeting people on browsing means is that you're able to create segments in the same way based on how someone's bought something, but in this case, it's based on how they've actually browsed. So if they've browsed a product page, you could pass that information into your system, and then if they leave the site before completing an order, before even adding an item to their cart, you can message them about that particular product. And what you've just done is created a highly personalized email campaign based on exactly what they were browsing and being able to include related recommendations for that particular product. You could do the same thing on a category level. So we could ingest category data of people who browse specific categories and send them a category-related email with the top-selling products from that particular category. Now, that's something that we can help you with at SmartMail. It's also another product that we've created called the Chimp Express. So if you're using MailChimp and you're interested in learning out how to do this on MailChimp yourself, go to thechimpexpress.com and check out how we could help you do that, because those particular campaigns are going to yield very, very high return, and they're going to make you a lot of money because you're sending them contextually relevant content based on what they were browsing, right? So that's another way of personalizing the email experience. And thirdly, we have... I've got another really cool little tip here as well. The third way is segmenting your openers and sending them a survey request. So people who are frequent openers, you might want to segment out openers, frequent openers or non-frequent openers. And again, it's about creating segments of a list and segmenting out based on anyone who opened more than 3 times in the last 90 days. I would call them decent openers and relatively engaged people. What you might want to do is, if you don't have much content about those particular people, you might want to run a competition or a survey or something that basically gets them to fill out more information and fill out their profile information. So you might want to offer a $10 discount, or I don't know, a free Amazon card, whatever it is. I'm not sure, but basically you send them an email, but you've got to segment them out because you don't want to do it to everybody. You want to do it to your more engaged people. And then with your more engaged people, you can send them more engaging content when you know more about them, right? And so what you want to do is send them an email encouraging them to fill out like 5 bits of information that basically directs and links back into your database. And there are many tools that can do that. And basically that allows you to update your profiling information of these people, and that allows you to start sending more personalized content to them. So that's another way of personalizing the user experience and sending more personalized content to your users, because I think the goal at the end of the day is that, sorry, you definitely want to be able to send newsletters because that's sort of like the cream of the crop. But the next level down is to be able to send just as many emails but make them as personalized as possible. So if you have multiple sets of personalized campaigns and they're personalized in different ways, then you're going to have a greater volume of conversions from a much smaller group of people. And that's going to sort of really bump up the total revenue from your entire email channel. So there are a bunch of ways that you can personalize emails, literally the content of the emails and the actual emails themselves. So hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully this opened your head up a little bit. And if you've got any comments, feel free to comment below and keep sending through your questions. I'd love to answer them. Thanks.